Welcome back to Last But Not Least. I'm your host, Chris Burnette. Here on this channel, we help people to find the best ways to become the most excellent version of themselves. And in this episode, we want to talk a little bit about what it means to develop habits. How do you change the things that you do on a daily basis and allow yourself to create autopilot for the most important parts of your life? Today, I really wanted to hit on two specific rules that have been super impactful for me thus far throughout this month. These are pretty new ones for me, so y'all will really be going through the journey with me if you decide to put it into practice yourself. I want to start off this episode with a little bit of a question. When you think of the team who begins the season and ends it holding the championship trophy, and the team who finishes the season with no wins, what do you think the difference is? When they started that year, they both probably had the exact same goals in mind: to win the championship, to win every single game that they suit up for. The difference from my perspective is habits. You may have the exact same goal at the beginning of the year, but if you don't change the things you do on a daily basis, you won't make actual headway accomplishing set goals. Because of that fact, it's important for us to remember that so often we can put ourselves in autopilot doing things that are not adding to the goal that we're trying to accomplish, and actually could be detrimental to where we're trying to go. With that in mind, I've tried to implement some new rules to change some of my daily habits, to get rid of some bad ones and create some new good ones. The first rule is actually one that I hadn't come in contact with until I started reading a book, Atomic Habits, back in 2021. The first is actually the 2-day rule. The 2-day rule is pretty simple. It's exactly what the rule says. That's don't allow 2 days to go by without you doing the actual habit that you've committed to. So if you do the rule or you do the habit one day and you screw up and miss the next day, it's not a problem. You just make sure that you don't create a trend and miss on doing that habit multiple days in a row. So it works both ways. On the positive end, make sure that you string together multiple days of doing the positive habit. And then on the negative end, make sure you don't string together multiple days of not doing the habit. It's pretty simple. In its actual sense, I think it's creating some momentum for you over time. So instead of allowing yourself to get frustrated with the fact that you didn't consistently do the thing that you promised yourself that you would do, that you can say, you know what, today I may not have accomplished it, but tomorrow I'll make sure that I will. In a very tangible sense, for me, I made the commitment that I would go to the gym and work out every single day, or at least every day in a row. And if I missed a day, that I wouldn't create a trend of not working out and being active. So every morning I made sure that I not only did that, but that I continued to build upon a trend that was positive in the direction that I wanted to go. My end goal is actually to lose a significant amount of weight, but if I were to just make the end goal of losing a lot of weight the purpose for my day-to-day actions, I would never know how I would actually get there. So for me, the thing that I committed to was going to work out every single day. Another habit that I think is super important to me is finding the best ways to continue to grow in my knowledge and my understanding of new topics and things that I may already have exposure to, but seeing them from a different perspective. And I found that the best way to do that is actually to read. When I started to read Atomic Habits back in 2021, or Deep Work earlier this year by Cal Newport, those books started to create shifts in my mental perspective on the world. Not just on how other people act, but on how I act and the types of environments I put myself in and the way that I can accomplish the goals that I set out for myself. As a former athlete, I was so used to every single thing being created and structured for me, and I just needed to show up. And I didn't realize that that made things a lot easier than they are for, a typical adult, someone in the real world with a lot more freedom. With that in mind, I've had to grow and learn, how do I create more of that structure for myself? And the best ways for me to do that is to create new habits, specifically those positive ones that help me to move and take a step forward to the place I really want to be. I think the thing that I enjoy the most about the 2-day rule is that it accounts for real life and it provides some flexibility. I know every single one of us have gone into the new year creating a new this habit or goal that we have, a resolution that we want to accomplish for the year. And we get about 5 days in and somehow, some way, life happens and we screw up. We don't do the thing that we promised that we would do. The beauty of having the 2-day rule is it allows for us to have flexibility. And every day is not always going to be the perfect environment for you to do that habit that you have committed to for yourself. I love that not only does it give us that chance to give ourselves some grace, it gets us right back on the horse and allows us to look at each day as a new day and as something that has its own unique value and purpose. Can't live in the past, we need to live in the present. And the 2-day rule is a great reminder for me. With that in mind, I think it's key for all of us to anticipate obstacles. Nothing that is worth doing is ever going to be easy. There's going to be something that pops up in your way. There's going to be a job assignment that's going to take away a lot of the time that you may have otherwise spent doing something important for your habit. Or maybe there's a weather issue and it keeps you from getting to the gym or getting to that specific place and environment you need or you think you need in order to accomplish that habit or goal that you have in mind. So I think it's key for us to create some rules around the habits that we have for ourselves. And for me, the 2-day rule is a great one to help me to get back on the horse or get back on the bike whenever we may have a failure in the day before. The next rule I want to highlight and provide and shed some light on is actually the 2-minute rule. There's a lot of twos in this video. The 2-minute rule is similar to the first, being the 2-day rule, in that it's very simple and it actually is one that provides some flexibility for those who may struggle creating those new habits. The 2-minute rule was popularized by personal development guru David Allen, and the rule basically states if it takes 2 minutes for you to do it right now. On top of that, if there is a habit that you're trying to create or do, just commit to doing it for 2 minutes. If it's something important like I want to make sure that I start reading more, commit to read 1 page. Shouldn't take more than 2 minutes. Or if it's something that's tied to your health and you say, man, I want to work out more often, commit to just 2 minutes. Say, I'll go to the gym, I'll walk in, I'll show up, and I'll work out for 2 minutes. And thankfully, that checks and counts for you adding to your habit and accomplishing the task. You may hear this and are thinking, that brings no value. What's the point of just doing something with just 2 minutes of time? That doesn't really add to what we're trying to accomplish at the end of the day. People who want to win that championship, they don't practice for 2 minutes. So how am I supposed to accomplish my goal with just spending 2 minutes at a time doing it? That's a great question. And it really is to point to this fact. It's not about doing the habits perfectly. It's about building the muscle of actually doing the habit in the first place. You want to build momentum the same way that the 2-day rule talks about. The main idea is to make the habit as easy as possible for you to start. Anybody can read 1 page of a book. Anybody can go to the gym and work out for 2 minutes. Make the bar as low as possible for you to be able to check the box and say, I accomplished this task. This is a powerful strategy because once you started to do the right thing, it becomes much easier for you to continue doing it. A new habit honestly shouldn't be challenging. when you get started, it should be an easier thing for you to do. You want to lower the barriers of entry. The tasks or actions that follow the beginning of the habit could be difficult or challenging, but you want to make it easy just to get started. In a sense, what you really want is a gateway habit that allows for there to be an easier pathway for you to continue down the road that you really want to go down. The truth is, the whole point is to master the habit of showing up. When I was in college, I heard so many coaches say that the greatest ability is availability. So if every day we make ourselves available to our habits and show up, we're making our lives a whole lot easier. And another truth is that a habit must first be established before it can be improved. So do the work to make those commitments to only 2 minutes worth of a habit that's important to you. And over time, you will grow and improve it. So remember, if you make a mistake and you don't show up as your best self on a specific day, you make a commitment to having a healthier lifestyle or eating better foods, and today you decided to eat an entire pint of ice cream. Or if you said, I'm committed to going to the gym, and for whatever reason, you just laid and watched Netflix and YouTube all day. The good news is tomorrow's a new day, and you can start by doing a 2-minute commitment to that new habit. Master the act of showing up. So, with all that being said, those are 2 very simple rules to help you to get started in creating new habits today. That's the 2-day rule and the 2-minute rule. So, with that being said, let me know, what are some of the rules that you've created for yourself in order to help you to create new, better, and healthier habits? Are there some cool tricks of the trade that you created, or maybe some parameters or guardrails that you put in practice for yourself to allow you to stay on the path? If you do, let me know. Drop them down in the comments or shoot them to me on any of the social media channels. I'd love to hear it. All right, that's another one in the books. As we wrap up this episode, last but not least, I really wanted to highlight some things that have been providing some life and energy and excitement for me over the last month. I know there hadn't been any episodes in the month of November, so I wanted to highlight some things that were super just exciting for me. I'm a big Christian hip hop fan, and some of the best albums of the year all dropped over the last few weeks. First of which being Lecrae's Church Clothes 4, highly anticipated album. It's the final installment of his Church Clothes mixtape series that he began back in 2012. Some of his best music to date.
I'm still in America. Beautiful, elegant, sinful, and arrogant. It's penny hysteria after they shot at them schools in that new cafeteria.
The next of which is one of my friends, DJ Mykael V, alongside producer 1995. They dropped their debut album, Bodega, together. It's honestly not the style of music I always listen to. I'm a down south guy, and this is definitely boom bap, New York style hip hop, but it's some of the best Christian music, best rap period that came out all this year. Just crazy bars, incredible production, definitely one of my favorite projects. And it's crazy to see DJ Mykael V grow in the artist that he's become today. I was an MC before he spoke my name. Before these kiddie rappers shooting backwards, using backwards to provoke my aim. And lastly is someone who I hadn't met in person, but we've had a really great social media connection. That's Brasel. He's one of my favorite artists, and he dropped Transcendent earlier in November as well. And man, he always pushes the envelope when it comes to production and content. And I love that he always keeps Christ at the center of his music. They try to take me out, guess they don't know who I am. I gotta keep on shining, yeah. So, with all that being said, make sure you check out all 3 of those projects. Some of the best music that I've heard this year. So, be sure to check it out. Your ears will not be upset about it for sure. So, with that being said, that's all I have for you today. And remember, it's often the things that'll last that are most important. I'll see y'all in the next one.